All right, now day 3, and I promise you the truth about what's actually inside a bottle of Vicarious. And honestly, this is the part of the story that changes pretty much everything. Because once you know this, you can't really unknow it. So here it is. Most people assume that Vicarious is what the wine industry calls like a second label. And in most cases, that term means exactly what it sounds like. Lesser vineyards, lesser barrels, the stuff that wasn't quite good enough for the main blends. Bulk it all together, slap a different label on it, sell it for less. That is how most second labels work here in this business. Vicarious is just not that. Let me walk you through what actually happens with this wine. So every single wine in the Vicarious lineup begins its life with one intention: to become a modus operandi wine, right? The grapes are coming from the same legendary vineyards, sites with their own gravitas, their own reputation. These aren't filler vineyards, right? I am talking about Roca. I'm talking about Sage Ridge, Ed Cora, Huyi on Pritchard Hill, Boyd Vineyard over at Oak Knoll, Caldwell, Kenzie Mueller down in Los Carneros. And that's not even really the full list. These are vineyards that were chosen because they produce extraordinary fruit. These grapes are harvested and the wines are made. When those grapes are harvested and the wines are made, every barrel is produced with the expectation that it's going to be going into a modus operandi wine. That's the standard. That's the quality level from the start. Then comes the blending season, right? And this is where it gets really interesting because I sit down and I taste every single barrel. I rate them, and then I start selecting. The absolute best barrels get allocated to the single vineyard wines, and now those are almost exclusively reserved for the wine club members. Then I allocate for the Vicarious Cabernet, which is essentially our reserve level blend. Those selections are made and those gallons are spoken for. Then there are barrels and gallons remaining from those same incredible vineyards. So here's the question you should be asking. If these are the same vineyards, then what exactly is the difference between Vicarious and Modus? And here's the key. I could easily put those remaining gallons into Modus. Easily. I'm almost splitting hairs when I make the decision on what goes in and what goes out, right? The quality difference between what goes into Modus and what I'm setting aside is razor thin. I'm intentionally producing more wine than Modus needs so that I can be incredibly selective. I want Modus to stay small, to stay precious. That's the whole point. So what happens to those extra gallons? Those barrels from the same legendary vineyards, made to the same standards, that just barely didn't get pulled into the final Modus blends, they become Vicarious. I call it the bougiest dumping ground of awesome wine ever. And I meant that. This isn't a second label in any traditional sense. This is basically modus operandi wines that I'm choosing to bottle under a different name, same label, at a lower price, because I want to keep the Modus production really tight. The vineyards are the same. The farming is the same. The winemaking is the same. The barrels are essentially the same, maybe a little bit softer, and the hands that made them are the same. The only difference is the label on the bottle and the price on the tag. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, so why is it so much cheaper? And that's exactly what I'm going to go over in the next email tomorrow. And the answer really has nothing to do with quality. It has everything to do with a business decision that I make every year that most winemakers would call crazy. You'll have that one tomorrow, so keep your eyes on your inbox.